They say the ancient world was a place of marble temples, clashing armies, and philosophers debating under the sunlit colonnades. But hidden among the myths and wars were moments, quiet, almost accidental moments, when the future itself seemed to peek through a crack in time. Imagine, if you will, an invention so extraordinary that it could have rewritten history, but instead, it was left to gather dust in a corner of a temple. This is the story of a hollow sphere, some bent pipes, and the man who may have built the world's first steam engine almost 2,000 years before the Industrial Revolution. Let's begin our journey in the bustling heart of Roman Egypt, the great city of Alexandria, in the 1st century of our era. The air is heavy with the scent of spices from India. Papyrus scrolls are traded as eagerly as fine wines, and the great library still hums with scholars from every corner of the known world. This is a city where Greek thought, Egyptian tradition, and Roman ambition mingle in the same streets. And somewhere within these walls, in the shadow of temples and lecture halls, works a man named Hero, or Heron, of Alexandria. Hero is not a philosopher lost in abstract ideas. He is an engineer, a showman, a man of practical wonders. His writings will later describe ingenious devices, coin-operated holy water dispensers, mechanical birds that sing, puppet theaters powered by hidden weights. He is the kind of man who sees the invisible threads that pull the physical world into motion and knows how to weave them into delight and astonishment. But among all his creations, one stands apart, a strange little device he calls the Aeolipile. Picture it, a bronze sphere, polished until it gleams like the sun on a calm sea. From its sides protrude two thin, bent tubes, like delicate arms reaching in opposite directions. The sphere sits balanced between two pivots, hollow inside, and connected by a small pipe to a cauldron of water. Beneath the cauldron, a fire burns. As the water boils, steam rushes up into the sphere, escaping through the bent tubes. And then, magic. The escaping steam forces the sphere to spin, faster and faster, until it whirs like a living thing, humming in the air. It is, in essence, a steam engine. Not the massive pistons and iron beasts of the 18th century, but the same principle. Heat turned into motion. Steam harnessed to do work, and Hero has built it not with the tools of the industrial age, but with the bronze, iron, and skill of the ancient world. Now, here's where the mystery deepens. Hero presents his Aeolipile as a marvel, something to amaze the faithful in a temple, perhaps turning of its own accord before a statue of a god, as if divine power were moving it. There is no record of it driving carts, or pumping water, or running mills. To Hero, it seems, it is a curiosity, a trick of science to awe the crowd. And then, nothing. The Aeolipile vanishes into the pages of his book, Pneumatica, a description preserved by scribes but never, it seems, adopted on any meaningful scale. And so the question echoes down the centuries. Why? Think of it. A working steam engine in the 1st century. If someone had seen the potential, if the gears of innovation had caught, the ancient world might have leapt ahead by almost 2 millennia. We could have seen locomotives thundering across Roman roads, mechanical factories along the Nile, powered ships steaming into the harbors of Carthage. The Industrial Revolution, in togas. But history doesn't work in what-ifs easily. The truth is, the ancient world didn't run on coal and steam. It ran on muscle. Human slaves, beasts of burden, windmills, and water wheels powered society. Why build machines to do the work when cheap labor was abundant? The great empires valued stability, spectacle, and conquest, not disruptive leaps in technology. And Hero's device, as wondrous as it was, didn't yet have a purpose they recognized. It was an answer to a question no one had thought to ask. Still, There's something about the image of that spinning sphere that haunts the imagination. And here's where the story takes on a more tantalizing shade. Some historians wonder, was Hero's engine truly a one-off curiosity? Or was it part of a deeper, hidden tradition of ancient experimentation we've barely glimpsed? Think of the Antikythera mechanism, pulled from a shipwreck off the coast of Greece. A clockwork computer over 2,000 years old, capable of predicting eclipses and tracking celestial movements with astonishing accuracy. For decades, scholars dismissed the idea that such precision gearing could exist in the ancient world, until the corroded fragments proved them wrong. If they could build that, could they not have imagined steam doing more than spinning a toy? There are whispers in some ancient texts of devices that sound eerily modern. Temple doors that opened by themselves when a fire was lit on the altar, using hidden steam-powered mechanisms. Fountains that ran without manual pumping. Automatic theaters with moving scenes. Were these clever stagecraft, or the faint heartbeat of a technological path that was never taken? Modern experiments have shown that Hero's Aeolipile works exactly as described. Build it with the materials he had, light the fire, and it spins. Smooth, silent, except for the soft hiss of escaping steam. In 2015, engineers replicated the device and calculated its efficiency. It wasn't powerful by modern standards, but it could absolutely turn wheels, drive gears, lift weights. It could work. And yet, it didn't change the world. Here's the irony. In Hero's own time, Rome's roads stretched thousands of miles. Aqueducts carried water across mountains, and massive stone blocks were moved with engineering skill we still admire. The Aeolipile could have slotted into this world, given the right vision. But the vision never came. In a society where innovation was often tied to spectacle or religious awe, there was no industrial drive to transform labor with machines. The empire's power came from conquest, tribute, and human toil. Steam had no empire to build, so Hero's little sphere remained a wonder, a curiosity in the margins of a book, a footnote in the history of engineering. His writings survived through the Byzantine world, into the Arab Golden Age, and finally into Renaissance Europe, where scholars rediscovered them with fascination. But by then, the spark was too far removed from the flame. It would be another 1600 years before steam would roar to life again in the iron cylinders of James Watt and his contemporaries, ushering in the Industrial Revolution. Still, I can't help but picture it. A dimly lit temple, the smell of incense thick in the air, and at the center, before the statue of a god, Hero's Aeolipile turning slowly, gracefully, in the candlelight. Worshippers gasp, seeing the divine at work. But perhaps, somewhere in the shadows, a boy watches, not with piety, but with curiosity, and wonders, what else could this do? We will never know if such a boy existed, or if the thought ever crossed Hero's mind. But the image remains, a ghost of a future that never was. Some say history is a straight road. I think it's more like a tangle of paths through a forest. Some are well-trodden, leading to the empires and technologies we know. Others branch off, narrow and overgrown, disappearing into shadows. Hero's steam engine was one such path, a trail that could have led somewhere unimaginable, but was left to vanish beneath the leaves. And maybe that's why it fascinates us still. Because it's a reminder that history isn't inevitable. It's full of missed chances, forgotten ideas, and moments where a single decision might have reshaped the world. Even now, 2,000 years later, Hero's little engine spins in the mind's eye, its jets of steam hissing softly. Not as a machine of conquest, but as a symbol of human ingenuity, of the strange dance between discovery and need, of how sometimes the future arrives early and waits in vain for us to notice. Thank you for sharing this journey into one of history's most haunting what-ifs. Now I'd love to hear your thoughts. If Hero's steam engine had been developed in his time, do you think it would have transformed the ancient world? Or would the weight of history have kept things much the same? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, please like, comment, and share. It truly helps keep these stories alive.